All right, now that we have everything in the kitchen taken care of, we're gonna go outside. I'm gonna run through everything we have in our van, how to make chemical, how to set up the machine, and then we're gonna proceed to how to spray the fans. We're gonna have a couple before and afters at the end of this video. If y'all want anything that you saw in this video as far as equipment, it'll all be available for purchase on Powerwash.com. The link will be in the description below. All right, you guys, so now I'm gonna show you our chemicals. This is FS502, this is the degreaser that we use, and this is FS Booster. This basically makes the 502 sticky and makes it stick to grease longer, helping us out. So I was gonna show you guys how to make our chemical, but we had some left over from our previous job. We didn't want to waste it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just describe to you how we mix it. So we would take 8 ounces of 502 and put it in a 5-gallon bucket, and 7 ounces of Booster and put it in a 5-gallon bucket, and then you mix that with cold water all the way up, mix it real slow, and voila, magic. So that's it. All right, so now we're gonna go over all our supplies that we keep in all of our vans. They're pretty much all set up the same except for one big difference. But for the most part, everybody's running 502, Booster. Ooh. This is our stainless steel polish. We use this on every hood whenever we get done, unless the customer requests for us not to. This is FS 100. We use this for Asian grease. It's empty right now, but we use it for Asian grease. It breaks down Asian grease real good. Asian grease is real sticky and thick, so this really helps. Okay. All our crews, we fill them up every week with 6 rolls of plastic with about 3 to 5 bags of brand new rags. Everybody has an electric machine. Everybody has a manual pump up sprayer. So basically what this is, we take the same 8 ounces of 502 and put it in a 5-gallon bucket, mix it up with no Booster. If you put Booster inside of a pump up sprayer, basically what happens is it suds up, it clogs up the line, so we can't do it that way. And then we have a rope. A rope is for throwing it down off the roof in order to pull up the gun. In this van, we're running, I believe they have 350 foot of pressure hose and 150 foot of water hose. The reason why this van's able to run so much pressure hose and water hose is because they're running a hot machine. So basically this machine, you pump cold water only to it. It runs into the heater and then comes out of this small pressure hose right here that we connect however many more pressure hoses we need to it. So it has its own heater, and you activate that right here on this switch. Also, one more essential tool I believe everybody getting into a kitchen exhaust cleaning should have is a magnetic scraper. There's 2 sizes. There's a 4-inch and a 2-inch, and basically how these work is you put them inside the duct and you run them up and down. They stick magnetically, and you can scrape them from the bottom to the top or top to the bottom. As far as PPE, you need safety glasses, a headlamp, gloves, long sleeves, pants, non-slip, waterproof boots. All right, so now that we made our chemical, ran through the truck, we're gonna go ahead and head upstairs. We're gonna take pictures and we're gonna start washing the fans. All right, guys, now we're gonna show you how to spray a fan from start to finish. All right, so how I'm gonna start it is we use 2 tips. We use this yellow tip, it's a 15-degree tip. And then we use this black tip, it's a 60-degree tip. So the black tip's gonna allow chemical to come out. The yellow tip stops the chemical from flowing. We run everything from a downstream injector, so that's how we regulate everything. The yellow tip is also our high pressure tip. I'm gonna start it off by spraying everything with chemicals. Just let everything pre-soak. Typically what I try to do is I try to just get everything, wherever I'm cleaning, I try to get it completely covered with chemicals. That way it starts to pre-soak itself. While I'm spraying down the duct, even though it's a little difficult, I spray as far down as I can before I can't do it anymore. That way, whoever's spraying up the duct, aka spraying the hoods, it's a little bit easier for them, because spraying up the duct from the bottom is pretty difficult. So I'm gonna continue to just pre-soak everything, then I'll come back through and hit everything with high pressure, and hopefully it'll knock most of it off. Okay, so I forgot to mention, there's a technique for spraying the blades and like how to control it. So what you want to do is hit the flat side of it just enough to get it spinning, and then you go back the other way real quick. So just like this. Just like that. The reason why you do that is just so that way you can stay on the dirty surface a little bit longer. It'll help you out in the long run. So now we're gonna start spraying the bowls. All right, so now that I got the whole bowl sprayed with chemical, I'm gonna go ahead and just start spraying the backside of the blade. This is a commonly missed area, but how you spray them is, how you spray the backside of the blade, you gotta have a 45-degree tip, and then, so you're gonna put it in there, and you're gonna control it by turning the wand. So you'll be able to hear it. And I try to make them spin as slow as possible. You're basically spraying in the dark. You can't see what you're cleaning. But what I'll do is, if I'm not sure if the job's real dirty or something like that, I'll just get my phone and I'll take a picture and see if I like it, then I'll move on. If I don't, I'll just keep spraying until I like it. All right, so on this Supreme fan, spraying the blades is a lot different, because obviously they're wide open and water can go everywhere. I try to stay as dry as possible and as clean as possible. So the technique of being able to control the blades is real important when you're spraying this. All right, so whenever I'm spraying Supreme blades, I try to move real quick. And get them completely saturated. And then switch to the bottom. Spray this little piece right here. And then move to the bowl. Okay, check it, make sure I like it. Don't like that that's still dirty. Okay, now I'm gonna spray this last bowl. All right, now I'm gonna start rinsing everything with high pressure and see if it needs a second coat of chemical. So what I try to do is I try to spray it in the same order that I just sprayed chemical in. That way the chemical is sitting for the max amount of time. You want to move fast when you're spraying. You don't want to just sit in one spot for too long. Keep moving. If it's not completely clean the way you want it, just keep on going, and then you can always come back through and hit it again if you have to. All right, so now that I sprayed everything with high pressure, I'm gonna reassess everything, see if I like it. The bottom of the fan looks all right, but it could be a little bit better. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray it with chemical again before I move on to the rest of them, just so that way it can sit there and soak a little bit. What I'm doing when I spray the roof like that is I'm waiting for the chemical to run through the line. And there it is. Okay, now I'm gonna start rinsing the other fans off. So typically this is about how it'll go. You'll have one fan that's real dirty, and the other fans will be, you know, moderately dirty. So in this case, that's our dirty one. But everything else should be like one pass. All right, the bottom of that fan and down the duct is good. I'm gonna go check this one. So how you're able to tell if a fan is clean, it'll have a different tint to it. Whenever you spray it with chemical, the rust or the grease almost turns white. You can see the difference. This is a clean duct and this is still greasy. So that's what I'm looking for whenever I'm spraying. This is that white tint I was talking about right here. This one's kind of tan, but sometimes it'll turn white, tan. It'll just, it differs in color. So that's how I'm able to figure out, okay, like this is still greasy right here. All that's still grease, that's grease, that's grease. I just look for different tints in the metals, all stainless ducts. Those are real easy to clean because if it's not shiny, it's not clean. These are a little bit difficult. Sometimes the duct's black. Those are real difficult to decipher if it's clean or not. But you just have to keep a real close eye on it, and whenever you're spraying, you just have to see, okay, I just went over that, it changed colors a little bit, it's still dirty. So that's all I do. So whenever I spray it, you'll be able to watch it change colors. So that's what I look for, just like that. If I go over it, it changes colors a little bit. There's either a little or a lot of grease left, so I just keep on spraying until it stops changing colors. That's also a big reason why scraping is important. There's a lot of people that don't scrape, that don't own magnet scrapers and stuff like that, but those jobs are also at very high risk of catching on fire. The sole purpose of our job is to prevent the restaurant from catching on fire. And if the restaurant catches on fire, most of the time it's gonna be in the duct. So that's why those magnet scrapers and duct scrapers are very, very, very important. All right, so now we have all our ducts sprayed and all the bottom of the fan sprayed. Now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna start spraying the bowls and the backside of the blades. I think it's important to go ahead and note that this fan being sprayed towards this fan isn't gonna make the water leak into the restaurant. These fans are set up to have a drainage system for whenever it rains. So any overspray that's coming over into this fan is all coming straight out of this spout right here and then going into this grease container right here. So it's good. But this fan's running too, so any water that comes over this fan, it's going into the air. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and start spraying these bowls and get them knocked out real quick. Can you still hear me? Yep. If I talk? Okay. So what I'm doing now is controlling the speed. I'm going up and down. You can still rotate it like this, I guess, but it's always worked better for me just to move the wand up and down and control it that way. Go in and out like this type of motion, so you're getting the whole blade. Okay. Now I'm gonna start spraying the bowl. So also, while I'm here at this bowl, I'm sure y'all have noticed there's a lot of greasy water coming all over this roof. All this water is flowing to this roof drain over here in the corner, and that drain goes straight to a grease trap, and we make sure that we confirm all that with the customer before we start spraying anything, because that's probably the most important part, besides keeping fires out, is also protecting the environment. If we let all these chemicals and grease going to the environment. One, that opens us up, and then two, it's just not good, it's polluting. Let's say you're on a job and there's no grease trap available. What you're gonna do is you're gonna have to confirm it with the customer. Two, after you have the confirmation, now you're gonna have to add into the work order that you need to bring sandbags and some type of pump or a vacuum, something like that. So basically your 2-man crew or 3-man crew is one person is going to be spraying and the other person is going to be in charge of basically sucking up all that water and preventing it from being spread elsewhere, or preventing it from puddling up on the roof, damaging that customer's roof, creating leaks and stuff like that. This fan's not done, but what's happening is all the grease water is just puddling up right here in the bottom. So instead of blowing that all over myself, I'm gonna spray it with chemical, let the chemical do its job for me. All right, so we're all done spraying the fans. Now we're gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna show you guys how to spray a hood. All right, so now I'm gonna show you guys how to spray a hood. I have this respirator on because we're in a confined space. The chemicals that we're spraying, they tend to be a little bit hard on you. So whenever I work real tight spaces, I try to wear a respirator just to try to prevent as much, damage to my body as possible. I'm not gonna be able to talk as much, so y'all kind of just have to watch what I'm doing, and then periodically I'll pause and explain what I'm doing.
All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing that I did on the roof. I'm gonna start it off by spraying chemical first. Let everything pre-soak. Go from there. So the fire suppression system, typically people are scared of them. They don't like to spray them, but you can dust over it with chemical with no problems. Most of the time, they're sensitive, but they're not that sensitive. They have to be at a certain temperature before they actually trip. So I'm just trying to get everything nice and saturated, spraying the real hard spots first, which is the bottom track, the top track, and up the duct. Spray up the duct. I try to put the one as far up as I can while I'm spraying chemical. Whenever you're spraying pressure, it's a lot more difficult. So I just try to pre-soak it as much as I can. That way whenever I'm spraying pressure, it's a short-term thing. So now that everything's pre-soaked pretty nicely, I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with chemical. Hit it with pressure, I'm sorry. Most likely I'll have to spray it again with chemical, but I don't know what I did with my pressure tip. Oh, there it goes. Appreciate it. So just looking at everything, I try to spray the most dirty spot first. The reason for that is because there's chemical all through the line, so whenever I spray it, it's going to be like high pressure chemical. So right now it's going to be the bottom track that's the most dirty. Kind of raise your arm up a little bit. Make sure you get the whole track. So as you can tell, it's kind of difficult to spray up the duct. You're typically going to get pretty wet. But that's how you do it. While you're spraying the hood, you also want to monitor the trash cans. Make sure they don't get too full. If they start to get too full, you can always get some type of pump or a hose to siphon it out. So I still see a little bit of grease up the duct. I can tell it's a little dirty. So yeah, up the duct I see grease right there. I see grease right there along that fire suppression. Right there. All that. There's grease back there. A real good way to tell if the hood is still dirty or not, if you don't have a If you can't tell, you can turn the lights off to the hood, then get a flashlight and shine it, and it'll like highlight the grease. So I'm gonna go ahead and, I'll drop it. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock that off real quick. Okay, I'll go ahead and hit up this duck real quick. Oh. Switch hands, get the other side. Oh no! Did you see where that went? Hey, can you bring the pump? Yeah. So I just asked for the pump up sprayer. That's the black pump up sprayer that's in the van. The reason why I asked for that is whenever I got up there to get this tip that just went into the track, I looked at the bottom track, and right here in the middle it's pretty dirty. From where I'm standing right here, it looks clean, but it's deep down in there. So that's what I was talking about. That's why I scraped it first, but the scraping wasn't good enough. You'll have that sometimes, but it's important just to get dirty sometimes and get wet and help yourself figure out if you need to keep spraying or what you need to do. So alright, so these pump-up sprayers you got to be real careful with. This hood system has a return air system, so it's blowing air up, so it's typically going to make air bounce around inside the hood and most likely come back at you. If this stuff gets on your skin, you're going to know real quick because it's going to start burning you. You need to go to the sink immediately and rinse yourself with cold water. But what I typically try to do is spray as far as I can away from myself to try to prevent that from happening. So this is basically just a real concentrated version of what's coming out of the wand. I'm only going to focus on the bottom track because that's the only spot that I saw was dirty. I'm gonna go ahead and spray right here too, since I got it. So what I'm gonna try to do right now is spray this back part of the hood. It's typically a real hot spot for being missed, just because it's difficult to spray. But the reason why I'm gonna spray it with this instead of the wand is so that concentrate sits there a little longer and eats it up a little faster. I'm going to go ahead and relieve it from pressure. That way, just in case somebody steps on it, it doesn't start spraying all over them. Alright, now I'm going to hit this bottom track with pressure again. I'm going to get up there and check it again, see if it's clean. Hopefully it's clean. Let's see what happens. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and start spraying this back part. Spray this sidewall real quick. Alright, now I'm going to check everything. Make sure that I like it. Okay, so these guys right here, they're about to siphon this water out. I'm going to show you, it's a real quick trick. You can use a water hose to do it. 50-foot water hose works. It's just slow. What I'd recommend is about 6 to 8 feet water hose, 6 to 8 foot water hose. So what I do is put the one side in the sink, let it fill up with water. Put your thumb over the edge of it. Boom, and then I'll put this part on the clip so it doesn't just slip out. Thumb still over it. And then from just standing height, drop it on the floor. The water will start flowing. Boom, now it's sucking the greasy water out of the trash can. Very helpful tip.
All right, so now that the hood's completely done, we're gonna start our drying and shining process. So to do that, we need 2 mop sticks, which we have, and a squeegee. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by basically just using the squeegee and knocking off all the real big excess water, and then we're gonna hit it with mop sticks to completely dry it, and then with our stainless steel polish. So he's gonna start squeegeeing it. I'm gonna show you guys how we put these rags on these mop sticks. So what I do, these are old rags from the last job. All right, so you're gonna lay it out flat. You're gonna pair up your rags, fold them in half, put it on the mop stick, and you're just gonna start rolling. You wanna keep this somewhat tight. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the tighter the better. Then it's gonna have a hole in the middle of it. Got it. Okay, this needs to be all the way open. You're gonna put this part into the hole. Boom. Close it up, tighten it up right here. Boom, now this stick is set up to start drying. Austin's gonna do that. Now this is gonna be the shine stick, or I might probably just start drying with it too, but it's gonna be the same process, same thing. If you're running real low on rags, you can do it with 1 rag, but it's better with 2 rags. It gets you a lot further along. Now this one's ready for drying or shining, whichever one comes first. Which it looks like it's gonna be shining. So I'm gonna show you guys how we shine. All right, so this is our stainless steel polish. We went over this whenever we showed you our chemicals in the van. So basically how we apply this is that once the hood's dried, you're just gonna spray this on the hood and then you just rub it in. It's pretty simple. So this is all done. You can pour it on this side now. So remember, this hood is defective, so it's not gonna look as good as the next hood, but I mean, you'll be able to get the gist of what's going on. All right, so I applied it. Now I'm just gonna use the dry, brand new rags to just rub it in. So what I do in order to not miss any pieces or anything like that is I shine hoods in sections. If you miss a piece, it's gonna stick out real bad to the kitchen staff. They'll be able to point it out. You'll get a complaint. So I tend to just do the whole section whenever I start it. All right, now that we got this hood shined, I got these guys shining this hood. I'm gonna go ahead and start taking off plastic, replacing filters, taking my after pictures. There's not really a technique to pull off plastic. Most of the time you can stand right there on the ground and just pull it and do it that way, but since I'm already coming up here to replace the filters and take the pictures, I might as well just take it off while I'm up here. That's how I look at it. Boom, and then there's not supposed to be any gaps within the filters, so I just even it out. After that, boom, that one's all done. On to the next one. Okay, now I'm gonna come over here and do the same exact thing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The only thing left to do as far as cleaning is, y'all shine the outside already? Good. All right, so we need to shine the backside. So after they spray the shine, I'm gonna start removing all the plastic. The second reason why the plastic's here is for whenever we do spray shine, it doesn't cover all their equipment with it. And then we have to put caulking along where we put all the plastic. So as soon as he gets done shining this area, I'm gonna start caulking it. All right, so this is Fire Block by 3M caulking. We're just gonna re-caulk everything. The reason why you wanna use Fire Block is just because it's just an extra added layer of protection. So All right, guys, so we got the fans back running now. I already turned back on the gas. I'm gonna go ahead and relight the pilots real quick. Oh, that doesn't come off. Okay, well. Okay. All right, so now we have all the pilots slid. All the gas is back on. All three of the fans are running. We have the hood shine nice and clear, nice and good. Got our hood sticker on. The only thing left to do is close the video out, you guys. We're gonna have a couple before and afters at the end of this video. If y'all want anything that you saw in this video as far as equipment, it'll all be available for purchase on Powerwash.com. The link will be in the description below. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one.